Hello everyone, and welcome to Karstandsons. I'm Leslie. I'm a homemaker, homeschool mama of 5, hence son's part of the name, and also I run an organic micro bakery out of my home. And I want to welcome you along as I work through a few days of my week prepping dough and baking while being a mama. So all of my dough starts with already fed leaven that's all ready for me to go. I start milling my grains. So I use a blend that I make myself of an all-purpose organic flour mixed with various different grains. These grains vary depending on what I'm baking. Anything from freshly milled hard red wheat, soft white, einkorn, and most recently I'm trying out kamut, but I haven't quite nailed that recipe down, and you'll see that later on in this video. One of the most exciting things recently is I've teamed up with a local organic grain farmer, and I've been able to use that in my bakes. And truly, nothing makes me more excited than being able to source my ingredients locally. In the summer and fall, when I offer specialty loaves, I will change up my menu based on what's available locally. This is one of the things that keeps baking really fun and exciting, is you get to be really creative with those in-season items and partner up with people who love what they do, love what they grow, and be able to work alongside your community. So as I'm working through my day of milling and dough making, life is always happening around me. And there are other tasks that need to be done, like making breadcrumbs, for instance. These were leftover baguettes that didn't sell. And rather than having them go to waste, I am making breadcrumbs for my family that could be used for meatballs or really anything that calls for breadcrumbs. My day is just moving from one task to the next. It's cleaning after school messes before moving on. And I think that's the beauty in the chaos, really. I think sometimes we want to over-compartmentalize our days. And while there are some tasks that we have to dedicate time to, most things as a homemaker can be done right alongside our children. Every week, customers have time to order either through social media or our website, and I close orders 48 hours before I deliver. The reason for that is I want to be able to make enough leaven for the amount of bakes without running into either not having enough or having a large surplus of leaven after baking. And really, that was one of the first things I changed when I started baking in bulk. I used to carry over a lot more discard. As I moved into baking for profit, I realized that having a large amount of discard was both not cost effective, and it also created a lot more variables to how my leaven would rise. I needed to be more aware of my timeline, my bulk rises, and I wanted to be able to be sure that I was making a consistent bake week after week. And I think that would be one of my biggest words of advice for those that are baking already for your home but are wanting to start selling, is to get your process timelines down. With sourdough, there's always going to be some variable. You can't control everything completely, but being able to time your rises, get your leaven correct, weigh your ingredients in grams, those factors will help you produce a consistent product week after week. And welcome to day 2, and we're cleaning again. This time it's breakfast dishes. I'm getting our day started for bake day, checking if the boys have done their chicken chores, getting them set off to start their school lessons. 3 of my boys are old enough to work through some of their lessons more independently, so they start on those during the times when I'm working, and then we all come together and work through lessons they might need help with later in the day. I know that sounds like we're a well-oiled machine, but we aren't. Some days have more hiccups than others. Some days feel a little chaotic, but really, whether I was running a micro bakery or not, these feelings would be there. those days would still be there. It's really about being intentional with our time and energy, giving grace when things may not go as planned, and being mentally prepared to overcome those hurdles. I am not a type A person, but I've been homeschooling for the last 8 years since my firstborn started school, and I've learned to create an overall rhythm in our day and our lives that help us keep things moving no matter what season of life we've been in, and this season of starting this bakery is no different. And this brings us to my favorite part of Bake Week, the end result. It's always so fun to pull your bakes out of the oven, the smell of fresh bread that fills the air of our home. Being able to deliver within a few hours to my customers is just always so fun. I had 2 batches to bake on this day, and while they would all fit in one bake, because of my bake temps being different, I do them in 2 separate batches. So while I let my oven come up to temp again, I can score my bread. The top right one on the screen is that 100% kamut experiment I was talking about earlier. And like I mentioned, this is definitely a work in progress. While it wasn't a total brick, it needs work. The round bowl below is an einkorn loaf and I offer, and it's one of my favorite recipes I've developed. Here is the end result. This lovely loaf stays in our home for dinner that night, and the rest are cooled and packaged and ready to be delivered a few hours later. Thank you so much for coming along with us as I go through my day as a mama and micro baker and homeschooler.